Monster Hunter World finally released on the PC last week, becoming the biggest launch on Steam for 2018. A great start, but with mixed reviews on Steam due to performance issues. How does Capcom's latest in the Monster Hunter series run on an NVIDIA GTX 1060 with AMD's Ryzen? Let's find out. Listed on the screen and in the video description are my PC specs. This is the stock performance of the GTX 1060 with a very modest overclock to 3.5 GHz on all cores for the Ryzen 7 1700. With that out of the way, here are the benchmarks. At 1080p running through Astera, the hub area of Monster Hunter World, we have 120 frames per second on low settings with 89 FPS for the 1% low. At the highest setting, we have 50 FPS for the average and 39 FPS for the 1% low. Just looking at the charts, aiming for the coveted 60 frames per second experience, the sweet spot for 1080p gaming with the GTX 1060 seems to be the high settings with 64 FPS on average and 47 FPS for the 1% low. At 1440p, high settings also seems to be the sweet spot for 30 FPS gaming with 40 FPS for the average and 31 FPS for the 1% low. The 1060 definitely isn't cut out for 4K gaming on Monster Hunter World, taking a beating on the highest settings with 14 frames per second on average and only playable on low settings. And if you're stuck gaming on low settings, you might as well get a console and enjoy better graphics with a mostly 30 FPS experience. Now earlier I said the high settings seems to be the sweet spot for the GTX 1060 with the Ryzen 7 1700, but this fixed run through Astera doesn't take into consideration different weather and vegetation you are exposed to in other parts of the game. The true sweet spot is a custom graphical setting of a mix of low, mid, and high settings, and these settings should help out other hardware setups besides the GTX 1060 with Ryzen. I aim to surpass 60 FPS at 1080p and 30 FPS at 1440p because my buddy Tengu230 has warned me he's seen a lot of people complaining on the forums about performance dips at the Rotten Vale, a place I'm not even close to reaching, but I don't want to have any issues when I get there. I won't cover everything in detail, but highlighting the main stuff, the resolution scaling I've set to high to keep my native resolution. Texture quality is at full because I don't think the texture quality is that great to begin with for Monster Hunter World compared to other AAA titles. Volume rendering quality is set to off because holy moly, if there's one thing you do, turn off this fog making FPS killer so you can enjoy better performance. Anti-Aliasing is a personal choice. Some people find TAA and FXAA to be too blurry and prefer no anti-aliasing. I don't mind TAA, but you gain about 5 frames more if you turn it off. Also, please keep LOD bias to mid at least because on low, some foliage look really bad. With these settings, I average around 73 FPS at 1080p and 48 FPS at 1440p. So yeah, you guys can copy these settings and let me know how this works for you in the comments below. Here are some other rapid fire tips for Monster Hunter World. Some NVIDIA graphics card users are having issues running the game with the latest NVIDIA driver 398.82, so you might have to roll back for better stability. If you want to play with a controller, you will need to go to the Steam settings, click on controller, then general controller settings, then click on the tick box next to your controller of choice. Now doing this enables the Steam Big Picture overlay by default. So when you click Shift Tab while you're in the game, you will not see the regular Steam Chat overlay. If you want to change this, under the Steam settings, click on In-Game and then untick the box next to the Use the Big Picture overlay when using a Steam input and then press OK. Also, Fraps and Monster Hunter World do not get along too well, so once you're using Fraps, your controller still won't work, and I had to run these benchmarks using my keyboard and mouse. If you find your helmet in the game makes your character look silly, you can hide it by going to the game's menu option, go to System, Options, under Game Settings, turn Head Armor from Show to Hidden. Lastly, make sure you eat food from the canteen before every mission, and happy hunting! Anyways guys, if you found this video helpful, smash that like button, subscribe for more content to come, and I'll see you guys next week.